you're my guest, right?
Oh, do you just want to say, oh yeah, but anyways, you're gonna, maybe I'll show you what I have, and then
It's all good. It's all good.
let's see. I have a host sharing disabled. So you have to,
Disabled. Okay, give me a second.
I
Yeah.
think if you make me co-host, maybe that works.
Now you're organizer, and that should work.
I
Okay.
still don't have screen sharing.
Can you try now? Oh no. Okay,
Yeah,
give me a
no.
second again. Yes. And now you should be.
Yeah, now it works.
Yeah. Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Okay, we have like a minute. So let me share the actual link because I have to change it again because Zoom as always doesn't want me to share anything, you know.
Okay, let me just close this stuff here.
It's all good. It's all good.
And we do this. And I do this and increase the pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, while I'm making the new invitations.
But let's see, or maybe I put this here.
Hmm?
Oh, I'm just moving things around my
Okay,
screen.
okay. Okay, I changed the link. Hopefully everything will work now. Because, you know, it's not my first time when Zoom doesn't want to start broadcasting, you know?
Okay.
And that's crazy. I don't like it.
Yeah. So you have to change the link on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, because you know, every time when I plan such workshops, webinars, etc., so I always try to plan it in advance, and
Yeah.
I find the way how I can connect the Zoom within the YouTube and how I can start broadcasting. And you know, every time I have any types of trouble, I don't understand why it just doesn't work well.
But it
I
says
did. I don't know
there's the
why.
live, so but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think finally it started. So yeah, hopefully someone will come. Yeah, a few persons seen the message, and I hope. Yeah, 6 persons watching now, so I guess we can start.
Oh, no one in the Zoom? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no one. There will be no one in the Zoom. They all will be here in YouTube. That's why I will be read out loud the comments. So yeah, here we are together and we're broadcasting. So hey, say hi to all of our viewers, and I'd like to say thank you everyone who's came today to hear our beautiful and amazing guest Kalindi. So welcome. And today we're gonna speak about career strategy. And while we wait for the other viewers and participants, so I shall let you speak, Kalindi, please. Could you please present yourself and tell a few words about yourself, or maybe you have some activities while we wait for another.
Yeah, I feel like we always run to meetings and things like this, so I like to start a bit later with the proper presentation. But in the meantime, I think in YouTube you can see each other's answers, because this is a thought of as a workshop. So if you can always like just write in the chat all the answers that you can come up. Like, chat is your friend, feel free to do so. Or I guess if you want to, you can join the Zoom and then we can share here as well.
Yeah, actually I can do it. Yes. So let me also send the invitation of those who wants to participate here in the Zoom. Maybe it will be even better, right? So give me a second.
No worries.
I feel like it's like not a very easy thing to do actually, but yeah, okay. I should try to do it.
Okay. Can I also actually get the link to the YouTube?
Yeah, I
just so that
already
I
did
see.
it.
Oh, yeah, true. Wait 1 sec. Let me find it.
Okay, yeah, I did it. I also shared the link to the Zoom, so I shall keep watching whether someone will join us here in Zoom or someone will just be as a viewer on YouTube Live.
Okay, 1 second. Quickly, I'll find the Zoom link. Okay, and then I'll, if I see any comments there, I'll also
Yes.
see. Okay. Are we running on Zoom on YouTube?
Yeah, we are running on YouTube now. We have a few
Okay.
viewers here, but maybe someone will join us in Zoom. Guys who wanted to join us in the Zoom, I shared the link here in the comment.
Cool. Welcome everybody to the presentation, to the workshop called Create Your Career. I'm Kalindi Fonda, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself later. But before we start, there's a few rules or guidelines and so on. So the first thing is, can you get like a piece of paper or a few pieces of paper and a pen? Because it's going to be an interactive workshop. We'll see how we do with the communication, because I think there's not many people in the Zoom, but just sharing the YouTube chat, sharing this chat, think about sharing. If you're here in the Zoom, feel free also to speak. There's times when I'm going to ask questions, and otherwise I'll just ask, and then there's going to be silence. But it's still good, because even when we don't hear an answer, a question can still make a difference. And third point, or second and third, let's have fun. And especially, let's be kind to each other in the comments and chat, but especially to ourselves. Because when I think careers can be difficult topics for many of us, and it's easy to start some negative thinking. Okay, so as a warm-up,
Kalindi, sorry, but as you're an organizer, I guess that you shall be accepting invitations.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes, from those participants who wants to be here as well. So sorry to tell
I think
you
I can
that.
make you host, actually.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, no problem.
Well, I muted you as well now, so
Yes.
make host. Okay.
Yeah,
I think now
thank you.
you're host. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay,
Change host. Okay, sweet. I think now it works, right? And you can still
Yeah, but you can't share.
Oh, sorry. Can you make me co-host?
Okay,
I think
let me try
that
that.
should work.
I don't know how to do that, because you know there is like the only thing here that you can have only one organizer.
Oh, I think now I can do it.
Okay, try this, please.
But if it's a problem, I'll admit people as well. Okay.
Okay.
And we see before we start, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
right.
as a first step, we're going to do a little warm up. The way this workshop works, or the way I like my workshops, is I give you little tasks, and then I have a timer to complete a task. And then after the timer is done, we're done with the task, basically. But so it means that we have our own moments where we work on things. So the first task is our warm up, and it's going to be write 10 accomplishments or more in 2 minutes. And the accomplishments can be in the last week or last month or so on. It can be something as simple as I made a nice plate of pasta, or maybe something like more major, like I got a job or some other big event. So I'll just admit. Oh, you admitted already. Nice.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and let's start. So 10 accomplishments or less or more, but so basically the point of this timer is also so that we don't overthink it. So it's just, we try, we just go for it. So don't stop, just keep going. Okay, let's go. And I'll do the workshop with you as well, because that's always fun.
Yeah, if you will see someone who wants to join, please accept them.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, I shall start to write my accomplishments as well.
Yeah.
Starting with the pasta, I guess.
Yeah.
What else would I?
About a minute left. Okay, 5 more seconds. Cool. Now, how many accomplishments did you manage to write?
Only 3 from my side, It's
3?
very hard for it's very hard for me, I guess, to remember any of the accomplishments.
And
that's a problem, I guess.
Yeah. And the participants, do you want to share in the chat how many you managed to write, or even you can unmute yourself and share?
Yeah, guys, please do not hesitate to share in chat or just take over the mic.
Okay.
Yeah, we shall wait, I guess, because it's not so fast. And maybe during the
yeah. And the
transmission, it might also be, like any stops. But yeah, let's wait.
Well, we
maybe
can always get back to that. So even if you're like writing a long answer and I move on to something else, feel free to just send it anyways, because we can go back to things and talk about them later. Like sometimes I know the speakers keep speaking and then I cancel, like delete the chat I wanted to send. So don't do that. Just send it, even if it comes out later. I hope. I don't think 3 is a lot, because even accomplishments like I went for a walk maybe 2 times last week, or I don't know, clean the room, or maybe something bigger. Like I did my work well last week, or I had a presentation to my team and it went well. Like these kind of things, I think it's really important to think about them regularly, because it's very easy to see the things we don't do and we don't manage, whereas
exactly, yes, yeah, that's my problem. Every time I cannot remember anything good. Or sometimes you might think, I guess, that it's not like enough good, to consider it as an accomplishment, maybe.
Oh, nice. Anton is saying no accomplishment strictly related to my current product, analytics work, or analytics in general. I would be very surprised if there were no accomplishments at all. I assume maybe you have colleagues who asked you a question and you were able to answer it well, or maybe someone new onboarded or someone left and you managed to make a transition well. I think there's a lot of accomplishments at work that we maybe also don't see as accomplishments just because they're a normal part of work. But when we make a mistake at work, we hear it, but when we don't, from ourselves, but when we do something well, we don't necessarily notice it. So
that's true, yeah.
So this this is my question is like, why am I doing this workshop, and why me, and why for this audience, or why for Women Tech Makers and International Women's Day? So I think it can be very, like, creating your own path is basically, first of all, it's very fun because you kind of create your career, create your life, you write your own story. But then it's also really powerful because when we follow what we care for, it really makes a difference. On the other hand, I've worked in ed tech for many years in many different roles, so online education. And I've seen a lot of people go through these transitions and career changes or career starts. So it's really interesting to see people and how they have goals and how they pursue that. And also, if I look back at the last 10, 15 years of my career, there's a lot of twists and turns, but there's always some kind of mission that I might have not seen back then, but I can see how I'm kind of slowly going someplace. So I worked in ed tech, I worked in film, I worked big companies like Google. I worked most recently, actually, I quit my job a few months ago at a small startup that works in healthcare machine learning. And I quit because I didn't really align with my interest and passions, which is AI for conservation. So now I'm at a moment where I'm kind of pursuing that path. And so I'm also in a, I think it makes a difference when we work in line with what we care for, because I really believe in the power and leverage of technology, and with the power comes responsibility. And so I think we need to use this privilege that we have. And also, International Women's Day, women in tech are still a minority, so we do bring the diversity to the table that is necessary to create wholesome solutions and products and so on, or at least solutions that take care of more of our population. And so I'm hoping that today we can create some motivation and connections and inspiration. Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, thank you.
And any questions or comments or chats? Feel free to post anything at any point. So
not yet. I guess maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone just trying, to
to
understand what's going on.
I'll just keep asking, and then maybe at some point things come. So okay, so this workshop is split into 3 parts that kind of intermingle a bit, but one part is thinking and dreaming, then one part is basically exploring and planning, and then there's also the sharing and reflecting. So let's basically jump right in. So thinking, what do you hope to get from this workshop, or workshops in general like this, or events or so on? Why do you go to such events? And what parts of technology you like? Do you like what it offers, or do you like the type of work, or the types of people, or so on? And also maybe what are some things you're working on? And of course, share if you want to, and otherwise this is just a nice kind of a soup of thoughts to have as we go forward. Let us have a few seconds to think about this. Maybe I'll give us a minute, and you can always, I think it's nice to have the paper, so just keep writing. So try to answer a question or two in this minute. Sounds good?
Yeah. It's really nice questions, actually. Really, all of them, because you never, I guess, you never think about it really. So that's why it's a nice opportunity to really think about all of that. What exactly brings us here, right?
Yeah. Okay, the minute is up. So feel free to share in the chat if you want. Otherwise, we just jump to the next, or via voice, or we just jump into the next thing, which is dream. So let's dream. So imagine yourself in a few years. Like, what do you want to do? Do you have a mission or vision, or do you have a job in mind, or a project or an idea that you want to pursue? And then also, what is actually your dream job? So I think it's really funny when you go to a job interview and someone's like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know you, but it's so easy to just like blank and be like, oh, I don't see anything. So one time I got asked this question, like rephrase of this question that really helped me basically do this, which is imagine that everything works out. So it's like, basically take a moment to breathe and imagine that everything works out, everything, like your dream job, what you ever wanted, your goals, things just work out. So where would you be? What would you do? Like, how would your normal day look like? What would be your first thoughts when you wake up? How would you feel? What would you be excited about working on? I'll give us 2 minutes for this, and I'll put the one slide for a few minutes, and for a minute, and then the other slide, and yeah, just paper and write a few things.
I encourage you to share your thoughts, please, because we need your feedback. Otherwise, we won't be able to understand what's going on. And how are you thinking and dreaming?
But it's also very private, so it's understandable.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I mean, like general thoughts, maybe. Yeah. So I'm just wanted to remind that, guys, just in case you want to share anything, please. We are here.
And we have another minute, so I'll change the slide actually to this one. Right. Okay. Just for the newcomers, so we're doing just a workshop where I give a little task and then you do it on your paper. I'm not sure if it came from YouTube or just a little late. Any interesting things or comments or things you've learned from the answers to these questions, or maybe some surprising thoughts that came up? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all. Just I understood that I have the same things which I thought about like 2-3 years ago. So that means maybe I'm on the right path, but I'm not sure.
Nice.
Anyway, I need to work on my, like reminding the accomplishments, what I'm doing, because I think that I found a problem here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you also able to imagine this life with the goals and?
Yeah, I guess so. But I love what I'm doing, so for a long period of time. So yeah, it's a relief, I would say, literally.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, and so next, I guess if you have a goal or so, what is between you and that life, or you and that goal, or I guess the next bigger project or idea that we can pursue. So for me, I saw this image, but I actually tried to find the source of this, and I didn't manage. But this image really explains well for me how pursuing a goal works. So basically, if we create little steps between us and our goal, we can actually reach it. Whereas if it's big steps between, sometimes it can feel unachievable. So let's do the next task, which is you just take a new piece of paper, and at the bottom of the paper, you draw a little picture of you. So it can be like a stick figure or a little, like a face or something like this. Like this, let's say. No, everything is, anyways.
No, it's good. Okay, yeah.
And then on the top of the paper, write something like where you want to be or your goal. It can be a sentence, or it can be just a drawing, or yeah, just like a symbol of where you want to be. And then basically there's this journey that the little you can make in order to reach your goal. So let's write the steps that would bring us there. Sounds good?
Yeah.
So some examples, for example, it could be attend an event, or work on project, or do a course, or learn X, or do some coding exercise, or apply for a role, give a talk, like all these kind of things, or reach out to some person, or join a community, or so on. But they kind of have to create this path to your goal. Okay, let's try. I'll give us basically 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I'll give us 5 minutes, and then check in 3 minutes to see how we're doing. Okay, let's go. Just a comment, because we have a newcomer. So we're just doing this workshop for 3 to 5 minutes. Basically, just follow the instructions. We're about 3 minutes in, so we can take 2 more minutes and then see where we are. Anyone needs more time? Or it's okay?
Me personally finished, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to, you know.
No, I think it's okay, maybe.
Hopefully so.
Yeah. So let's go to reflecting. So any interesting insights, something you liked, any interesting stares, did something surprise you? And here we have a comment from Anton, and he says, it occurs to me that in general, I live life without a vision of the future, especially in terms of how will I feel. I think that's really interesting, and what reframing where do you see yourself in the future in 5 years? Thinking about how I want to feel there really reframe what I pursue or how I pursue things. So yeah, do you think the how will I feel is a more difficult question or an easier question than a goal? And
yeah, for me, feelings are a very, very tough thing, I guess so, because I think you can imagine yourself like being on a specific position, maybe like, I don't know, living somewhere where you wanted to live during all your life, or I don't know, working somewhere, earning the exact amount of money that you wanted to. But you can't imagine, I guess, what your feelings would be. And
yeah,
that's the toughest thing for me personally. And you can expect that you will be very happy, but I think it's not guaranteed, and maybe that's why you can't imagine yourself like in such a case. So I don't know, guys, what do you think? Maybe you should share in the chat as well, please. It's a tough question, really.
Well, I can add my opinion on my side. Personally, it's quite hard. Yes, as Marina said, it's quite hard to consider how your life will go in 5 years, especially nowadays when you cannot even predict it for the next year, let's say.
yeah,
But in general, in terms of the work and the work scope and let's say in your duties and your goals, let's say what personally helps me is that is when you have some precise goals, let's say for this year or for the upcoming year, which are, let's say, kind of approved with the management, and you have like company support on that. So more or less your path can be clear in that.
yeah.
And for me, this really helps to make my track more transparent, let's say, for me and for my team. And what's most important is to deliver this value to your team members and to show them that what basically they are doing, it brings the value to the company and to themselves as well. So this is what helps me in all that.
And how do you decide how do you decide what's going to be on this path? Or
let's say,
do you
because
come up?
We work on the open market. Let's say in terms of the personal goals, that's one thing. Let's say I do it somehow in parallel to work. So let's say I do it on my own. But in terms of the, let's say, professional goals, it's quite easy because you always see what the other companies on the market are doing, what additional product value you can bring what can give you the advantage, or which advantages you have now and which you can develop. So, but I think most important is for your team members to understand what you want to achieve, and for the management also to understand what you want to achieve, so they can give you the resources for that.
Yeah.
And this really helps me, like it's kind of inner motivation plus analytics from the, let's say, from my part and from the analytics team and from the analytics unit as well.
I think you're raising,
how...
yeah. I think you raise an interesting point that sometimes when we're part of a company, the goal of the company is already defined, or sometimes through like the visions of the company or just where they're placed in the market. And so then we can find our path within that framework. And then I think the other thing that you said, which is transparency, and that's the thing, no one can help us reach our goals if they don't know what our goals are. So this both in a company, like if our managers know where we want to be or our teammates know what we want to achieve, then it's much easier to create things together. And I guess the first step is also we need to know what we want to be able to share.
Agree.
Anton shared in the chat, so also someone new came. So basically what we did, we went through through a few questions and wrote some things down. And basically the question was to create steps to come to your goal. I'll show you a picture quickly. And then, so basically like this is, you are on the bottom and this is your goal, and what are these steps to get to your goal, just for the newcomer. And let's go. And Anton mentioned how I will feel is a difficult question. Usually people want to be happy, but why be happy when you can be interested and involved? And that's the problem of finding something engaging and worth the effort. I guess it's what we define happiness as, right? Because I know when I'm interested and involved, and if it's something I care for, happiness kind of comes as well. But these are tough questions. I've done this presentation a few times, and I find it so interesting how every time it goes into a different direction. Like we've never focused on feeling as much, or like what does it mean to be happy, basically, which is your question. So thanks for sharing, basically. So looking at did people manage to write some kind of ladder of goals? Or was it difficult? Were there gaps? Or how many steps did you write on the ladder?
I personally have like very wide one, I would say. It's like 7 steps for now.
Nice.
Yeah, but I guess actually I need to cut it more, because otherwise it won't be able to happen, maybe, because I guess when you have smaller tasks, it's like smaller steps, and you can make them easier.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's like
big
a big cut, and I'm not gonna deal with that, something like this.
Yeah. So if we look at the picture, it's one of these steps.
Yeah, I have like these one, I guess.
Okay, wait, someone's coming as well. Okay. So four steps for Maxime. Anyone else wants to share their steps? Otherwise, the next, 4 also. Yeah, it does sound like there's a few more steps on the way. But let's look at the next step, right? What to do to take the next step? Is it clear? Yeah, I guess mine is pretty okay. Just to answer my question, for me, I think I wrote like 9 or 10 steps, but there's this massive gap at some point. Like there's a few things I can do now, and there's a few things, sorry, I blurred. Let me unblur.
That's all right.
And then there's just a part that I didn't know how to bridge. So that's definitely something I need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But what to do to do the next step? Is it clear? And like what can help us to do the next step, basically? Do we need to learn about something, or get to, or find new opportunities, or do we just need to like inspire ourselves and motivate and find so yeah. And Maxim is saying some are easier to achieve, but some are way more comprehensive, I guess, for the steps. And then the next question on the how to do the next step is who can help you basically to achieve all these things. And I think Maxime mentioned before, like management and teammates and so on. And it's really, it can be very empowering when the people we work with, we feel them as our like allies and people who can help us go forward. And I think also being here at this talk, right? We're basically part of a community, and we assume that we can learn from each other, or that these interactions are gonna help us in some way achieve some sort of next step. Yeah. Any interesting ways or people or things that can help us achieve the next step? Do you have any examples?
Tough question for me personally, because I think that sometimes you think that your goals like way too ambitious, and that's why I think, oh no, no one's gonna help me with that, and that's why like only Lord maybe, you know, Lord is gonna help me with that, and that's it. But yeah, I guess in such a case you should think about like, yeah, like you mentioned here, like some communities, groups, I don't know, any chats, coaches sometimes maybe. But yeah, it's hard to think about it for me personally, maybe because of my goal, because my goals, they are going like not too smooth, for example, as Maxim mentioned with the management, for example, because it's more my personal goal, not like the company goal, which I'd like to be part of. So that's why I think that that's not gonna work for me, for example. That's why I should think.
Yeah.
Anyone else, guys, please? Who do you think of?
I have a little comment in between if people are writing answers. I went to a talk from a animator, and one of the question was how is it to create under censorship, because I think he was from a country where like there was no artistic freedom. And he said that the worst kind of self-censorship is self-censorship. So just on the topic of a goal might be too big, who's saying that? Are you saying this, or is someone else saying this, and do they have the right to say this, or maybe you should just be able to try? Like if we don't try, we don't necessarily get there, right?
You're absolutely right.
So Anton's saying, lately I have often talked to more experienced colleagues, through mentor services. This exchange of experience is very helpful, both in work-related tasks and in my career in general. 100,000,000%. These mentor relationships can be so rewarding in both directions. Like we can learn from mentors, and we can be mentors to people who are either starting out, or if we're in the career for a few years. I'm sure like there's lots of people who would want to talk to us, and by sharing we learn a lot as well. So I guess for people who haven't reached out to more experienced colleagues, sometimes just writing an email, be like, hey, I'm really curious about what you do every day at work, or your role or something, and it can create very beautiful relationships also after we leave jobs. I meet monthly with a co-worker from 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we still like we work in a similar industry or have similar interests.
Oh, nice.
And it started off as a mentorship role, like he was my mentor, but we still keep like the mentorship role grew out from the company itself, and it continues. So thanks, Anton. This really super, like this, when people know what we want, they can really help us. And yeah, Marina, you're saying you're saying about the
for the censorship, I would say, really, because in most cases I think it's like the voice in your head, that's the only thing that stops you, and you think like no, but actually it is.
And it's, I mean, we've heard a lot about imposter syndrome, so that's all.
That's my favorite one, you know. I'm living like that.
Yeah, no, it's bad. I do the accomplishment exercise every day or so.
Thank you actually for that, because I think I've never think about it like from that perspective, and that's why I guess that should be like an everyday exercise for me. Thank you for that, really.
Actually, maybe I should have asked this question before. Did you organize this event on your accomplishments?
No.
Well, here we are.
But I should have. That's right. Well, you see how that works. Sometimes you think that like you don't do like tons of very, very specific things, and that's why maybe you don't consider them like a very special ones, and that's why that's a problem. But yeah, I should do that. Thank you for that. Really, for me, it's very, very insightful already. I don't know what you're thinking, guys. So it will be very interesting to hear your opinion as well. But I'm already like, thank you, Kalindi.
Nice. I think we have another newcomer. I don't know if from YouTube, but we're just going through challenges, like some questions, and then we either try to answer them together or we answer them on a piece of paper and then share. So feel free to share in the chat or unmute yourself and you can talk as well. Yeah. But we're almost at the end. But let's go to the next question, which is, so what's the first next step you will take? Yeah. Is it clear from your little like ladder of steps, or is it also still quite unclear of what the next step would be? I think we got some ideas also from the chat and from the sharing. One is basically talk to your management or teams about how to proceed in one's career, like the transparency. Then I really like the find more experienced colleagues or mentors. And I think one other really powerful aspect of mentorship is that you can see someone who managed to do something. And especially if they're maybe similar to us in some way, it can really be empowering to see the path people took.
Yeah, that's exactly what I recently did. I found a mentor for myself.
Nice.
Like a confession to everyone here. But yes, for me that was like a very important step. It's true.
My next step is actually to apply for some things, because sometimes, like applying for an opportunity is basically like, if you don't do it, you're never going to get it. But if you apply for things, chances are you do get it. Like, for example, to be a presenter at this event, right, is also on one of my goals, and it's I'm really grateful for you to be here with me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. No worries, please. We're happy to see you here. I guess so, right?
Yeah. So, any questions, thoughts, ideas for the end? Also, clap for coming to the end. And there's my email and my account names. So feel free to connect if you want to, or if you have any other questions or hopes or ideas, or you want to talk about something. I guess we can stay here for a few more minutes and just chat. And yeah, thanks for coming, and hope you got a few little snippets of thoughts for helping this. Yeah, so Maxim is saying, many thanks for sharing your taught on this track path, as it often is unobvious for us. Yeah. And yeah, thank you very much for the workshop. It was very interesting. Thanks a lot to
I
you.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, as always, because I think it's always important, you know, to maybe have some to recommend something, because as far as I understand, this approach which you shared today, and thank you for that, I really enjoyed the workshop, and I've told you that already, and I shall repeat it again, that it was very inspirational and insightful for me. And I wanted to ask you, maybe how did you manage to create such an approach? Maybe, or was it the situation, maybe, or was it some books or some resources, or maybe a person whom you've talked to and you decided that, yeah, this is like the great opportunity to, you know, to use this approach in career strategy as well? So
yeah,
I'm interested.
I think it's like a collage of things, like, you know, or you go in life and you go to a workshop and someone says something interesting, so you take it for yourself, or you see, for example, going to a talk. If a talk is 1 hour, chances are I like zone out, and so for me it's really important to have interaction with the people, or also to think about something by myself while this presentation or session is happening. So yeah, I think it's like a collage. There even for within women Techmakers, I think there's like the I'm Remarkable workshop,
Yeah.
which is interesting to do from the aspect of like just trying to phrase your story. There were some really interesting workshops, which was I think it was create your story, and basically the way it worked was there were 3 you would get in a group of 3, and each person would have a minute or 3 minutes to tell the story to their partner, and the partner had to tell back what they learned about the person. So it's just about signing up for these kind of workshops, and yeah, but I guess my main goal, or when I know I am happy, is when I can manage to push a tiny little bit towards my goals every little day, every day. And of course some days it doesn't happen, but if I have it written down, which this workshop enables me to do, right? I take time to write down what I want, then it's more present, and I can, you know, when we have interactions at work or in our private life, we can share this, and sometimes people can help us.
So you use it personally. I guess this is like the most important thing which we can learn from today's workshop, because I think it's like a very popular thing when you come to any workshops, or maybe you hear to another mentors or anything like that, and someone will tell you about the frameworks, and when you ask them, do you use them by yourself, and the answer is like, oh, you know, I read it like 100 years ago, and that's why I'm just, you know, trying to repeat it to you. So yeah, I guess the most important thing here is that you use it by yourself, and that's great, in my opinion.
I think it's always important to take things and adapt them to whatever works for you.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so I have like 10 different ways of making to-do lists, and on some, I mean,
okay, we may create 9 more workshops, you know.
Yeah. But I think it's like we know ourselves well, or not like somewhat well, and we know what works for us. Anton is asking a really cool question, which is, may I ask you the question, did your vision change over time, or what changed it? Yes, 100%. I think when you know, when you're 18, you have no idea what you want, but you kind of have a feeling of something. Like I remember, so I went to study film because that gave me the chance to explore, while like explore with a goal. But then I realized actually tech is also very similar in the sense, like you can, when you're interested in something, you can really pursue it through tech, and like there's this massive leverage. So I think it's this mix of you make yourself a goal, and then as you learn, you figure out if it's a good goal and or if it doesn't work for you, or you fix it. I guess most recently with the I want to do good, and then I want to do good for nature, and so I started off with ed tech because I was like, oh, it's nice, helps people, blah blah blah. But then I was like, actually, I care for nature much more. So I explored like climate tech opportunities, and then at some point I was like, actually, I'm not so interested in climate tech. I'm much more interested in, like, I'm the most interested in the nature itself. So now that's basically, I keep funneling closer and closer to, and it's okay. And sometimes I do other things and sometimes I don't, but slowly I can see my life and the opportunities that are created around me and I manage to create, they seem to be closer and closer. And I think also, in life, when we see how things don't always go so well, like deaths and wars and all the crap, it really, I think that my dad was very sick and he died at some point when I was younger, and I think it really tells you, hey, you live only once, and there's no point in, I mean, it's important that we are true to ourselves, because it's the only thing we have, I guess. And I think when you see how we're vulnerable and how the world just goes, it kind of reframes what's important or not, at least for me. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Thanks for asking the question.
Thank you for sharing so much. Maybe someone also has, like, maybe last question, and after it we shall finish. If no, of course I have questions, I can ask it one by one, and
yeah,
it's no problem.
Sure, you can ask the question, and then if people have a question, you just write it in the chat and we can get to it afterwards.
Yeah, I thought maybe someone else wanted to ask a question, but okay. I know that when we started organize this event with you, you mentioned that you are traveling. How did you decide, to start this like a big travel? I guess it's like another inspirational story, and I think it's like also one of the ways of how you're thinking and how you make decisions in life. So can you please share about it? Because I think that for many of us, it sounds like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's like, how is that possible? So please share with everyone here, because I find it amazing, really, and it's very inspirational for me.
Right. Thank you. So there were, I guess, two bigger types of trips I did over the last year. The most recent one, I just actually crossed the Atlantic with a sailboat, and yeah, it was on my to-do list for 10 years. Like, it's maybe even more. It's something I really wanted to do. And then and the season to cross the Atlantic is like October, November. So every autumn I was like, oh, should I do it this year or not? But then, you have work and you have this and you have that. So every year it was like, oh, not this year. But then last year, as I mentioned, like, I quit this job also with this idea. And then I joined some Facebook groups, and you can ask people if they're going across the ocean, and then you just join them. And so I'm comfortable in boats, but I don't really know much about sailing across oceans, especially. So it was a really massive step. But I had like these calls online with the captain of the boat, and we talked a lot, and then we also stayed next to the shore for a few days to see if we could work together. Thanks. That is just like a goal I really wanted to do and manage. So I'm really happy about this. And then another set of projects were conservation projects, because I mentioned I want to work in AI, and I don't know if you have this experience with tech. People in tech, like, we like to build things, and sometimes we don't really ask what people need. So I wanted to see.
That's what happens to me, every day at work as a product manager.
Yeah. So you probably have to. So it's always useful to have some connection with the clients or the people we build things for, because so that we know what are the actual needs. And so I went and joined some conservation projects, and one of them was in the Philippines. We would put camera traps on the bottom of the sea to take pictures of the manta rays and then the manta, there's like 10,000 pictures a day, and you have to look through them one by one, the pictures, and say, oh, is there a manta in there or not? And so this is like a perfect machine learning project, and it's interesting then to see how to try to combine, you know, what they have, which is spotty internet, electricity between 6 and 10 p.m., right? 6 p.m., 10 p.m., 10,000 pictures that you can't upload to the cloud. Can you create a machine learning solution for this? And so it's really interesting to see what is happening on the ground. And I mean, I worked on the project for a little bit, and I made some, it's not nowhere far, but it's for me, it was part of my education to be able to enter this field. So yeah, that's my answer.
Wow. So, you know, regarding the machine learning project that you just mentioned, I think this is like also a very interesting story, because I think that sometimes when we think about machine learning or data analytics, and especially for me, as I was a product analyst for a very long period of time, and sometimes, you know, I met such an opinion like, oh, you know, like data analytics, like analytics as well, is like also boring, you know, it's not like that important, especially when you work in tech. Sometimes it looks like, you know, just you count some things on you, or you count some product metrics, maybe sometimes you do some A/B tests and everything like that. And yeah, and now you come here, you know, and you're telling me about the exciting project where the machine learning is involved. And I think this is like the perfect example how far actually the data analysis, the machine learning, the AI can go. And that's amazing, really. For me, this is like really.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
We have another question.
And also, if you're excited about something, doesn't matter if it's boring for someone else, right?
Yeah.
So, like if you like analytics, it's the best thing in the world. Who cares, right?
That's true.
So Anthony's asking, in your opinion, what is the best way to understand your strengths and weaknesses? Do you have any stories about how you recognize yourself from a new side in a new situation? That's a good question. I think it's funny for me, it's about being kind to myself, right? Both in recognizing my strengths or also accepting my weaknesses. For example, even for the sailing, it's really nice that you asked, because I'm like, oh yeah, whatever, I just did this, whatever. Like I kind of diminish how I manage something. So I think it's really important to be kind to oneself, to be like, oh, I managed these accomplishments, I'm proud of myself. If I looked a year ago, I really wanted to do this, and now it happened. And then the other thing is, when I recognize something that maybe I would want to change, or like a weakness, then to try to find ways in which you can compensate for it, or like create a system where you trick yourself into doing something. So for example, I don't know, if you find it hard to get out of bed, you make a challenge that, or that you need to get out of bed in 5 minutes and whatever. Or one recent one, it's like, okay, I can only look at my phone when I'm out of the house already, so that I don't like, so, and I go for a walk in the morning, let's say, because otherwise I like it, a morning can be slow. But let's say if I just say I need to be out, it means I'll get ready, then go out. And it doesn't matter if it's a long walk, but it's just, it takes me out. And it so yeah, the point is to know where your weaknesses are, and then try to trick yourself into working out. not working out like exercise, but into becoming more who you are. Do you have any stories about how you recognize yourself from a new side in a new situation? I think it's really nice. Yeah, like this is when people give feedback, which when it's from a kind place, it can be the biggest gift, right? And then also I think it's often in relationship with things or projects or people, then we can like learn about ourselves, I guess, more.
Yeah, and sometimes on feedback you can say, damn it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'm actually gonna copy paste it to my
To
my
reflect on
document.
later.
Yeah, because it's this I especially this. Do you have any stories about how you recognize yourself from a new side in a new situation? Because that's basically when you recognize a new part of yourself. That's the place where you can grow, right? Either by nurturing something new and good, or by trying to address something that it's not so good. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. I think that also, like I'm also started to thinking on the background regarding the second question. I think that the most like popular ways, I guess, to recognize something new in yourself is when you're under the stress, maybe. Yeah, but not always, because I know a lot of people and myself. I think that I'm the same one that under the huge stress, sometimes I can be like too mobilized and all the way up and like ready to deal with everything and sort everything out. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, no, I'm gonna touch me. And I think that both of that also like might be examples of how you can recognize something new in yourself, maybe, but I'm not sure.
You mean putting yourself in a stressful
Yeah,
situation?
kinda.
Yeah, maybe it's because I don't like when it's unhealthy or
Agree.
sorry, this is my I've changed screen. I saw.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's always important to try to find safe and healthy environments. But I think if it's a safe, stressful situation like pressure and let's go, I think it's good. But it's I think we're all too stressed too often. So
yeah, and then maybe you can share something as well. And are you satisfied with the answers, or should we add something? Should Kalindi add something to her answers, please? Hopefully he's still here. Yeah, I guess so. He's still here.
Yeah.
Let's wait, but I don't know whether he will answer or not.
Yeah, that's okay. In any case, thanks a lot for coming and thanks a lot for sharing. Oh, yes, there's an answer. Seems to me that there's already a lot of food for thought. Yeah, I agree. Let's go. Thanks again for your time and thoughts. Sweet. Good luck on your life journeys and take care. And thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Kalindi, very much for coming here today. It was extremely inspirational and insightful for me, and I think for everyone who visited our workshop today. So thank you very much for your thoughts, for the practices, for the exercises. I also have a lot to think about. So thank you very, very much. So hope to see you soon, and would be happy to know how your about your new trips, like about saving maybe. So let's stay in touch.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, feel free to connect on LinkedIn or wherever, and or send an email if you want. Take care.
Thank you guys. See ya. Okay,
bye.
Bye. Okay. Just a second, I need to do this thing. Yeah, okay, I'm stopping now, and yeah, because otherwise I won't be able to end the conference. Okay, thank you very much, Kalindi, again. So I shall